So the objective of this bit of the project was to take one of these audio drama scenes that we created, the forest scene, and convert it into a virtual reality experience. We did this in about 2015-16. The aim of this was really to explore how good the audience experience could be for VR, particularly with a focus on spatial audio and what that could add. But also at this time, the tools for doing spatial audio in VR were not what they are now. They were quite poorly, they just weren't as far forward as the video processing aspects. So we did a lot of work on those production workflows and tools as well to explore what was needed with an object-based approach, which is perhaps different to some common tools out there now. So this was produced by the project, but in collaboration with some VR producers at the BBC and an agency called Vertov. So in terms of the tools and workflow, we extended what we'd done for the audio drama production and used a binaural renderer instead of a loudspeaker renderer to render to headphones, and also a 360 video player, which rendered to a head-mounted display. And this was all synchronized with the production workstation, and it allowed the engineer to monitor the VR experience whilst working on the audio production. It's just a few screenshots of the tools we were using. Phil mentioned them previously. Another important aspect of this was that we needed to take the experience into a game engine to build it for a virtual reality piece. So the rendering tool that we used enabled us to export to an ADM BWF file, so a single WAV file essentially with all the metadata describing the objects in it. Phil mentioned that previously. So that's the audio definition model standard, which we use to capture the object metadata. So within a single file, the entire dynamic scene is captured. We then built plugins for the Unity game engine to enable us to import that single file and populate the project with these dynamic sound objects. And we also had another plugin which used the same binaural spatializer in the VR experience. So this enabled the sound engineer to hear exactly what they produced in the final experience. So when we did that import, it populated the game engine with these dynamic objects, and as you can see here, the visual world was built around this pre-existing audio experience, which is quite a different workflow to some VR productions, but led to great results, we think. So the piece first started on the Oculus Rift. This was before the consumer version of the Oculus Rift was even launched, and it was premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival just as the new Oculus was launched, basically, and it was also covered on BBC Click, which is a technology program through the World Service, so it was shown all around the world on BBC News. And it was the 2016 Tribeca Film Festival where it premiered in New York. That year it was shown at film festivals all around the world, which was a real success. It also received some great reviews and was selected by Wired magazine as one of its top 8 VR films at Tribeca, where they said it's beautiful to listen to as well, thanks to the 3D audio. Thanks, Wired. We also won an award from TVB Europe for achievement in sound for it. So after that, we then adapted this for mobile virtual reality. Having used an object-based representation in the ADM was really valuable here because we could rapidly convert it to an ambisonics representation, which is more efficient to use on VR systems. And then we deployed that using the Google system for their Daydream platform. Google actually supported us to launch this on Daydream as their Daydream system launched, because they felt the spatial audio was represented so well and it's not so common. And yeah, so that launched at the end of 2016. It's now available also on Gear VR, and has had over 100,000 downloads so far, which is great. So just to summarize, we made a VR experience using a custom object-based audio workflow. It's been exhibited at festivals around the world, received awards and great reviews. Besides the TVB award I mentioned, it was nominated for the best VR experiences in Google Play and a Webby award for virtual reality. It's been released to the public for free and has been downloaded over 100,000 times so far. If you haven't seen it yet and you have access to these systems, I recommend you get it, and you can find out more about how to do that on the S3A website. There's a paper that describes the production in more detail, as well as a couple of additional references there.